All right, it says we live. Shalom.
Shalom.
Let's check the feed real quick. All right, we live. There you go. Shalom out there.
Shalom.
Let's get right to it, man. GMS Charlotte. All right, news and prophecy. We are closer to the end than we believe. All right, let's get into it.
The question, would you let someone implant a microchip into your hand if you would receive $2,000 a month in return for getting a chip put in your hand? You heard me right. We'll give you universal basic income, basically, 2,000 euros, $2,000 a month if you allow us to put a microchip in your hand. That's exactly what's about to happen as part of the rollout of the central bank digital currencies. It's a carrot for them to rope you into this mess. We'll get to that part of the story in a minute, the chip implantation process, not the corn chip, as Dan said in our chat, but a actual metallic tracking chip. But a new report just published this week by the Bank for International Settlements explains how our new digital money system is about to work. We've been warning you that this was coming for a long time on this show. Also, we weren't the only ones predicting this. It was predicted in a little book, you might have heard of it, called The Bible, The Mark of the Beast. For one thing, this new system, this is how this new system would operate. According to them, the Bank for International Settlements, the new reserve currency, forget the dollar as you know it, basically. This will be the new reserve currency, which is how they want to label it and how they are labeling it. This would be used to settle all transactions. As everyone moves away from the US dollar right now, this seems like perfect timing to be moving to this new system. So are they purposefully torpedoing the US dollar in preparation for a global new reserve currency? One might wonder, right? We don't believe in conspiracy theories around here, but you have to wonder. It could include the confiscation of all property, physical property.
All right, hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, GMS Charlotte, back at you with another news and prophecy. And before we get started with this lesson, we want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakapadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught us the truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, back out here to bring it out, man. News and prophecy. We are closer to the end than we believe, man. All right, so I got a few things here lined up that we want to talk about because as we understand, before World War III officially takes off, all right, that chip has to be mandated, and we're going to continue to press that point, all right, whether you hear or forbear, as the scriptures say. And I want to play this one more time, Mike. Do you mind?
Go.
Play this one more time, and we'll get it going.
Here's a question. Would you let someone implant a microchip into your hand if you would receive $2,000 a month in return for getting a chip put in your hand? You heard me right. We'll give you universal basic income, basically, 2,000 euros, $2,000 a month if you allow us to put a microchip in your hand. That's exactly what's about to happen as part of the rollout of the central bank digital currencies. It's a carrot for them to rope you into this mess. We'll get to that part of the story in a minute, the chip implantation process, not the corn chip, as Dan said in our chat, but a actual metallic tracking chip. But a new report just published this week by the Bank for International Settlements explains how our new digital money system is about to work. We've been warning you that this was coming for a long time on this show. Also, we weren't the only ones predicting this. It was predicted in a little book, you might have heard of it, called The Bible, The Mark of the Beast. For one thing, this new system, this is how this new system would operate. According to them, the Bank for International Settlements, the new reserve currency, forget the dollar as you know it, basically. This will be the new reserve currency, which is how they want to label it and how they are labeling it. This would be used to settle all transactions. As everyone moves away from the US dollar right now, this seems like perfect timing to be moving to this new system. So are they purposefully torpedoing the US dollar in preparation for a global new reserve currency? One might wonder, right? We don't believe in conspiracy theories around here, but you have to wonder. It could include the confiscation of all property, physical property.
Yeah, see, and that's the vibration of prophecy, man. Hey, I can get that Romans 13. All right, because hey, I was holding this article for some years. We had brought this out, about 4 years ago or whatnot, 3 or 4 years ago. But look how close, time has flew by. Look how close we are, man. All right, this was said back in 2022. Klaus Schwab says people's brains will be microchipped by 2026. Here it is. We already in the middle of October, man. So Hey, prophecy is active, man. You got it, Doc, if you want to speak.
God, yeah, no, like you said, Zaquan, prophecy is active. We see that, you know, we are seeing the fall of our enemy. Like the scriptures say, I have seen Satan fall as lightning. You know, the fall of Esau's hegemony, him trying to establish this MOTB, is a foreshadowing of his end being close. Because as the elder has said at the top of the lesson, we understand that before World War III takes place, the MOTB has to be implemented. Okay, so we're seeing everything happen in rapid succession. If I could, right quick, Zaquan, could I grab a precept for you?
You got it.
This is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
There you go. And you see, this devil is coming down with great wrath. As it also tells you in the in that same chapter that the dragon was wroth with the woman. All right. And look what's happening, man. We're in the midst of Jacob's trouble. All right. The dragon, the Edomite, this system is coming down upon Jake. All right. Because what? He has that short time. This is why everything, like you say, everything is moving in rapid succession. They only have but a short time, man. So again, this chip and the things that are happening in the earth, we're closer to the end than we actually believe. All right. There's so much going on right now in the world as far as like the riots. All right. We were talking about before we started the No Kings protest that's supposed to be in Charlotte here tomorrow. Okay. You still have in cities, they're still sending troops and ICE agents to these various cities where it's Jake heavily populated. Okay. This rise of Christian nationalism. All right. These Edomites have been very vocal of, vocalizing their hatred for you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics. All right. So those civil wars are on deck, man. Egyptian versus Egyptian. Okay. The internal imploding of Babylon, man. So these things, is we're going to keep saying, is that we don't even understand how close we are. One event, one major false flag, whatever the case is, that's going to bring America to total collapse, can happen tomorrow. It can happen next week. It can happen in the next couple of months. Who knows? But our eyesight is stuck on prophecy. You got it out.
Could I get another one for you?
Yep.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 13 and verse 33. Mark 13 and 33, it reads, take ye heed, watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is. So taking heed to the tokens, right? The prophecies, the understanding of the visions of the prophets and the visions that they received, the prophetic visions. We're aligning that to have sense of the times, as the scriptures say, measuring the times diligently within itself. That's right. These serve as, again, the scriptures say, tokens. These are benchmarks of timestamps that we can look toward for the inevitable return of our Lord and Savior, Yahushua HaMashiach. And in these times, the spirit of prayer has to be paramount, right? Staying in the spirit, staying prayed up. Sure. Because the scriptures speak about, like the elder had made mention of in the book of Revelations, the enemy, right? The dragon being wroth with the woman, right? The enemy coming down with great wrath, knowing that he has but a short time. We are in that season right now. Sure. The implementation of the MOTB isn't just going to be anything that's of light. This is going to be a major shift in which our faith is going to be tested.
That's it. Revelation, let me get there real quick and we'll get that Romans, Revelation 3 and was it 3 and 10?
I got you, Zaquan. This is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Yeah, so this is tied into the hour of temptation, them enforcing this MOTB system. All right. So we know in the spirit that we're closer to this thing than ever. All right. This is why I was thinking about, that's why I wanted to play the video, as we saw in the beginning of this lesson, of the guy from Redacted. He was saying, he was talking about, you know, the getting the chip and receiving, you know, $2,000 payments for getting the chip in you. Would you do it or whatnot? Which we did a lesson on this topic before, but just wanted to, you know, just to show that video again of like, look, this thing is here, man. All right, 2026 is right around the corner. You got Apple, you got Neuralink, all right, and I believe there's one more, if I'm not mistaken, one more company that's pushing their own version of the chip. Okay, so that inevitable time is here, as you were just talking about. Now, I wanted to, matter of fact, get that Romans real quick, Doc.
Okay. This is the book of Romans, chapter 13 and verse 11. It reads, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed."
You can speak up.
God, the time that we're in, as we're seeing, we are in the days of the end of the heathen reign. We are at the end of Esau's hegemony. Okay. So our salvation ties into that very fall. But there's going to be prophetic events that take place. The mark of the beast has to come to pass. The mandatory implementation of the mark of the beast. World War III. Okay. Jacob's trouble. There's things that have to take place in its proper order. Again, sure. Referencing the token spoken of in the book of 2nd Ezra. Right. Yep. So as our salvation is nearer than we believe, we understand that these events are close as well.
Sure.
Like the elder has said, we brought this article out a while ago, but look how fast it's happened.
Right. That's right. Great points, man. Yeah, so I want to read this, right? Just adding on to the point. All right, this is from the Chat GPT. Let me pull it up. Bear with me. So I was just curious, you know, messing around. So I had put in, how close is the U.S. government to pushing microchip payments? And this is what the Chat GPT said, right? So it says it depends a lot on what exactly you mean by microchip, quote, microchip payments, RFID/NFC implants, biometric implants. Let me make that bigger, Oxlock here. Okay. All right, let me read it again. So it says it depends a lot on what exactly you mean by, quote, microchip payments, RFID, NFC implants, biometric implants, government issued chips, etc. But in general, the U.S. government is not currently close, right? Is not currently close to mandating or widely deploying microchip implants for payments. However, the underlying technologies exist, and there is an active discussion, some early private use in legal/legislative safeguards. Here's a breakdown of where things stand as of 2025. It says what's possible. It says what's possible now in some private experiments. There are companies in Europe and elsewhere offering microchip RFID NFC implants that can be linked to payment accounts, so you can, quote, wave your hand over a reader and pay, which we've seen that, right? In the U.S., a company called 32M, 3 Square Market, has offered voluntary RFID chip implants to some employees to use as access keys, payment in company break rooms, logging into computers, etc. These implants are voluntary, small scale, limited in adoption, and mostly experimental. There's no wide consumer adoption in the standardization in the U.S. yet. Right? Here's the point.
Zaquan Babakusha, could you repeat that? The connection had broke up.
Okay, that last part.
That last bullet point.
Okay, it says here, but these implants are voluntary, small scale, limited in adoption, and mostly experimental. There is no wide consumer adoption or standardization in the U.S. yet. Right? Here's the point. It says legal, legislative, and regulatory obstacles. several U.S. states have passed laws that ban mandatory microchip payments or otherwise restrict employers from forcing or coercing implantation. Right? It says as of recent counts, 13 states have statutes that bar mandatory human microchip implants. Check that out. But is that going to stand? Right?
Right, because if I may add to you, Zaquan.
Yep.
Matter of fact, let me right fast find this article. Because what we're seeing with this current administration is that they're upending a lot of the laws and legislations that have been the foundation of this kingdom. Yep. Now, brothers have went into this article a while ago. This was an article from The Economist, and it was titled "The Rise of the Superhuman." And this was posted March 22nd. This is the March 22nd edition. I'll just make the quick point.
No, take your time.
To beat to your point, Saquon.
Yeah, take your time. Pull it up.
Let me see. See here, page 15.
It's like you were saying, all these laws, these constitutional laws, and all that shit is getting uprooted. Yep. So yeah, you might have 13 states that have statutes, that bar mandatory human microchip implants, but who's to say that shit's gonna stand? All right, when they bring forth an economic collapse or whatever the case is, cyber attack, whatever their justification is on pushing that device. Right?
Colin, I got you right here, Zaquan. This was the article right here. It was titled "Cyborgs, Superhumans, and Cranks," where it was pretty much talking about the integration of, transhumanism, or the introduction, I should say. So it says tech luminaries such as Peter Thiel, co-founder of both PayPal and Palantir, and Sam Altman, the boss of OpenAI, are pouring money into the idea that the human body can be improved. It is not just the vision of the future in which aging is held at bay and Olympic feats of strength, speed, or endurance are commonplace that is exciting investors. The point, they are also energized by the sense that America's current leaders are open to this sort of techno-utopianism and may help foster it. Mm-hmm. So the very people that are in this administration, they're going to allow these things to take place. That's why we see that with this past big, beautiful bill, there's really no regulations on this, the integration of AI and the powers that they wield.
Yep.
So if this is the direction that we know prophetic is to take place, it's going to happen.
That's right. That's right. I want to read something real quick, not to get off point, but I want to add on to what you said about this whole transhumanism agenda, right? Just real quick, and I'll come back to this, right? This is from News Targets, came out back in April 15, 2025, right? So real quick, it says the divine versus digital battle. Scientists exposes how transhumanism seeks to erase human consciousness, right? Well, check this out. It says humanity is caught in a timeless battle between light and dark, with transhumanism as the latest front, driven by elites like the WEF and UN to merge humans with machines by 2030. The point, global agendas aim to erase innate human abilities, creativity, intuition by promoting AI and implants.
Wow.
Falsely claiming humans are flawed and need technological upgrades, which you just said, right? It's all tied into the snare.
That's it.
Now, it says, and at this point right here, this last point, it says, jumping down here, it says the WES 2030 vision includes neural implants linking brains to AI, creating a hive mind that erases individuality and surrenders human sovereignty to centralized control. There you go.
God damn. Yo.
Come on, man. Are we not closer than we believe?
Yes,
man.
Indeed.
So I'm gonna go back, not to get off topic, right? And we'll get to the scriptures in a second, right? But back in the read, the question that I posed was, how close is the U.S. government to pushing microchip payments, right? So back into the read here under legal, legislative, and regulatory obstacles. Jumping down, it says, there is no federal law that mandates such implants. You already know, I call Revelation 13, right? Not yet. Because of privacy, medical, regulatory, and civil rights concerns, any move to require or broadly enable microchip payments will face intense scrutiny, opposition, and legal challenges. And that's and that's right though, because when it does get mandated and when it does come to pass, all right, these devils they're already expecting to have resistance. Okay, and that's basically what the AI and the system is for. They're going to know who has it, who's against it. Okay, it's going to be rebellions. You got Edomites all over the internet now talking about Revelation 13, 16, and 17. All right, bringing out TikToks. You know, talking about how close this payment system is. How close this payment system is. It says, last part. It says scholars and legal commentators often argue that protections should be in place to prevent incentivizing or coercing implants to regulate use of data, address, privacy, etc. Last part. It's here's another snare. It says why the government is unlikely to push this soon, right? It says medical safety liability concerns implanting chips in human bodies has health risk, reactions, failures, needs for removal or repair, etc. Regulatory bodies like the FDA will be deeply involved, and large-scale deployment will require strong safety data. Public resistance, ethic, and civil liberties. Many people are wary of implants, especially ones tied to the financial or identity data. The quote creepy factor and surveillance concerns would generate political blowback. Technical standardization challenges for microchip payments to work broadly. There would need to be standard interfaces, security protocols, bank integration. All right, which all of that's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
It says bank integration, infrastructure at point of sale, etc. That is non-trivial. You just gonna say something about?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just agreeing with what you guys said. This is happening right now. What ChatGPT fails to realize is that the very systems that it's mentioning would not do this is actively doing it.
Right.
Behind closed doors, you have, like we had went into that lesson with regards to that article from The Economist, and you have Esau, they'll have these sister companies where they'll pretty much, like BlackRock will work with, I believe the company name, let me pull this up right quick. Salakia.
You got it.
If I'm not mistaken, the name of the company is Blackstone. Let me see here. Yeah, it's a BCI. There was a BCI firm called BlackRock Neurotech, where basically it's a sister, or should I say, it's funded by BlackRock,
right,
for the intent of developing this neurological technology. So all of these systems are working in conjunction. They're working together to forward this system to lead to the MOTV.
There you go. No way around it. I'm gonna read this last bullet point and we'll grab the scripture. It says cost/justification. The benefits, convenience would need to be weighed against risk, cost, and societal acceptance. Governments usually proceed cautiously when bodily technologies are involved. All right. So ChatGPT is saying that it's very far. Here it is. Bottom line, how close is the U.S. government? Very far. At best, we are in research, pilot, legal safeguard stage. There is no credible move underway to require such implants, and the barriers, legal, ethical, medical, are high. You see?
But you know, if I may add, Zaquan,
Yep.
to a degree, chat right, because you read about the grievous sword that those that received the chip would take.
Right.
We understand Esau. He's doing this under like the scriptures speak about. Why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing? Chat is coming from the angle of like, we wouldn't necessarily say that this is something that would happen,
right?
Because it sounds crazy,
right?
It's crazy to think that you can chip the whole world and put them into a digital enslavement. It's crazy to think that people would actually submit to this technology. But according to prophecy, everyone is subject to prophecy.
So
this is what is about to happen.
Second Thessalonians chapter 2. Right? Those people are going to fall for that delusion. It just talks about, I'm roughly paraphrasing, that they should believe a delusion or believe a lie.
Yep.
Matter of fact, get that real quick.
We'll get to that. Second Thessalonians.
No, go ahead, Salaki. Go ahead.
So Second Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 11, it says, or I'll start at verse 10. It says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them. Salakia.
Start at 9.
Start at 9, Salakia. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders.
Yeah. Even him. Who's him? The Edomite. All right. This is even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, going back into his pseudoscience, as we saw here, right? It's putting it in the screen again. All right. The divine versus digital battle, scientists expose how transhumanism seeks to erase human consciousness. This is the power of Satan that he's coming with, man. Right? Go ahead, Ak.
Verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
Yeah. So as you see on the screen here, a lot of this stuff that these elites are pushing is all, high-level witchcraft, Satanism disguised as science. Right? And people are gonna believe in this. People are gonna they're gonna subscribe to it. Right? Keep going.
Verse 11. And for this cause, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie.
So he's gonna send the Lord. The Lord is gonna send that strong delusion. Part of that delusion is believing in this beast system. Okay, people are gonna conveniently take the device because they want to get that $2,000. They want to be able to be active throughout society. People are gonna take that chip to live, to forward their life, in this new system. Go ahead.
Verse 12, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness.
Man, many people are going to be condemned, all right, for taking that device. And we know the end game, Revelation 14, all right, those that take part into the beast system in that chip, they're going to taste the second death, right? But the point that we're reiterating here is that this is here, okay? It's closer, the end is closer than what we believe, okay? You got that out?
God, you want me to reread that Romans 13?
I thought we was holding something else. Salakia.
I have Revelations 13. Yeah.
We can get that. We can get that in 1 second. I got this pulled up here. We'll get that next. All right. Let's read this here real quick. All right, just adding more on to the point. All right. But again, as we just read from the Chat GPT, how they're saying that it's far away from now for this type of thing to come to pass, but we clearly see that it's upon us now, right? So this is from News Target. It says JP Morgan mandates biometric data collection, tracking employee movement through their buildings, right? What more can we say? It says, The modern workplace is evolving, but not always in ways that empower employees. JP Morgan Chase, the largest bank in the U.S., is now requiring staff at its new Manhattan headquarters to submit biometric data, fingerprints, and eye scans just to enter the building. Okay, one step closer to the chip.
Mm-hmm.
What began as an optional security measure has quietly shifted into a mandate. See, right? Let's read that again. What began as an optional security measure has quietly shifted into a mandate, raising urgent questions about privacy, consent, and the normalization of surveillance in corporate America. While framed as a safety upgrade, this policy marks a troubling precedent: the erosion of bodily autonomy in exchange for access to one's own workplace. If financial giants like JP Morgan can demand biometric data as a condition of employment, how long before other industries follow suit? See? All roads lead to the mark.
That's it.
Key points. You want to add anything up?
Yeah, no, if I may, if we're seeing this happen at the workplace, they're often using this aspect, especially within financial services, biometric data for protection. They're trying to create this use of technology as a means to try to enhance safety, to make things more protected.
Yeah.
Because the landscape, especially within financial services, there's been numerous data breaches. We're seeing that fraud reports are at an all-time high.
Yep.
So with this, as the article has said, how much more before we see this hit other industries? Because biometrics is just another step, because biometrics isn't safe.
Mm-hmm.
So then it goes to the next level. Well, we need to actually go inside of you.
Yep.
We actually need to put a chip inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we know it's going to be safest.
There you go.
All your information, nobody can get into it.
Yep.
It's all a lie.
They can say there's been an increase in identity theft, right?
Yep.
So now we need to know if it's really you, you know? So that, again, that's the narrative that's going to be pushed in the time to come to justify mandating this thing, right?
Right.
Key points: JP Morgan's new headquarters enforces mandatory biometric enrollment, fingerprints or eye scans for employee access, despite earlier indications it would be voluntary. Right? Did we not see that before with the JAB? You know, they said it was voluntary. You didn't really need it, and then they put the pressure on people to get it. You know, it's just the bank has not clarified how long the data will be stored, or who controls it, or whether employees can opt out without penalty. Unlike states with biometric privacy laws like Illinois, New York lacks strong protections, leaving workers vulnerable to the misuse of their data. The policy aligns with the broader corporate push for frictionless, quote unquote, surveillance, raising concerns about tracking productivity, attendance, and movement. All right.
And if I may land back on that point as well, because with financial services, that particular industry, just speaking from experience, there is a push to integrate systems and software that is tracking people on a regular basis. You take into account that 8 hours of your day, you're being tracked. Like that's a major portion of your day. So for that to be integrated into other aspects of your life, it would almost seem seamless. You see, you're giving 40 hours of your week to a 9 to 5, and then you integrate this into other aspects of your life. It's not going to be seen as anything that's, you know, it may seem discomforting, but at the end of the day, a lot of these people, they don't have anything outside of this system. They don't have the truth. So when they, like we read in Second Thessalonians, the second chapter, these people have been given that strong delusion. They don't understand the severity of what this devil is attempting to do.
They're going to sell out.
That's it.
Last point. Critics warn that once biometric data is compromised, it cannot be reset like a password, making this a permanent risk for employees. All right. And remember, they've been bragging about how, you know, if you get the implant, you could be hackable. You know, they can hack the chip. You know, yeah, that's pretty much the point on there. So yeah, let's grab that. So again, hey, all of this shit is closer than ever, man. All right, you got that out.
Zaquan, I just sent an article to you as well, very fast.
All right,
but you want me to read that Revelations 13 for you?
Yeah, and I'll pull this up.
God, this is Revelations. May I start at verse 15?
You got it.
God, Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. All right, and that image is speaking of the revival of the Greco-Roman Empire, the very system that this beast, America, NATO, and EU mirrors.
Yep.
Okay, that system has been reintroduced by way of this beast that's in current power.
Yep.
That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And we're reaching that very point, right? Those that are not willing to submit themselves to the system will be killed physically, or they will be cut out of society, right? As we have on the screen here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And as we, this is the charagma, that implantable device, right, which John the Revelator has saw. This is the very thing that we're seeing implemented at the very end of Esau's hegemony, right? For all you camps that try to refute the word of prophecy. Now, when we go into this word for causeth, as we often do, the word in the Strong's Concordance, the Strong's G4160, it says, jumping down to definition 1, or should I say I, subdefinition 7, it says to make, for example, render one anything, to make, for example, constitute, or appoint one anything, to appoint or ordain one that, right? So as we know, the word constitute, when you look that up, let me see here. It says to make up, form, compose, set up, established, enact.
Yep.
Right. So there's going to be an enactment for this technology to be used. As we saw what happened, as we see on the screen, the digital ID, what happened in Britain? The guy got on the podium and said, on this government, nobody that will take the that doesn't have the digital ID,
yep,
you won't be able to work by the end of the year. I mean, just that nigga said that shit like the end of the year was months down the line. That short window, you had to make the decision. You have to make the decision if you're in Britain to take that digital ID. How much more the MOTB?
Facts. Facts. And that's why, as you just read, can you read that word for mandate again?
Con, I got you.
Yep.
This is the definition of the word constitute.
Yeah, there you go.
It says, okay, it gave me the full breakdown just now. Okay. It says constitute, give legal or constitutional form to an institution established by law. It says,
yep.
Let's see here.
To establish by law. So that cuts, prophecy cuts what we were just reading here in the Chat GPT. See, Chat GPT saying like, well, it's a possibility, right? But no time soon, right?
Right.
But prophecy says otherwise. All right. We understand that what we just read here is actually going to happen sooner than we know. All right. This is why, as I said, why the government is unlikely to push this soon, because of the medical safety and liability concerns, right? But we understand when it's time to go, it's time to go. All right. And all of this is not going to matter at that point. You see? So you can't you again, as I say all the time, you can't offset the will of the Lord. You can't offset prophecy. I got something real quick. right? Just thinking out loud. You know.
You want me to grab it for you?
Yeah, Isaiah 14 and 27.
Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 27. It reads, and in the Blue Letter Bible, the subheader of this Isaiah 14 verses 24 through 28 reads judgment on Assyria.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah 14 and 27, it says, for Yahweh of hosts hath proposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back?
Right. So you're not going to disannul the will of the Most High. All right. You're not going to turn back the hand of the Lord at the end of the day, right? Because prophecy will come to pass, right? Add Isaiah 55 and 11.
Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 11, it reads, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
There you go. But it shall accomplish that which I please. All right. So the will of the Lord will be done. All right. This MOTB will be mandated. All right. It will come to pass. All right. This is the prophecies we read in Revelation 13, 15 on down. All right. So all you Israelites out there that's watching all these different camps, and you're confused about what's really going on. Like we say, just stick to the apostles and elders of GMS, man. This is where the truth is at. All right, because all the other camps are playing around. They're supposed to be warning. Now you got, like we talked about, IUIC is talking about, well, the what did they say? The digital ID, it's the mark of the beast and all of that, right? But what about the aspect of this? The mark going inside of the body. Everybody dances around that point, right? On how this is a physical mark that has to go in the body, right? And with that physical mark, or without that physical mark, I should say, you're not going to have the ability to buy and sell, right? So there's a lot of confusion, surrounding these different Israelite groups, man, right? But this is why we're banging you on the head. Okay, with the prophecy of the MOTB, because it's here. Okay, there's no way you can escape and try to dip and dodge and say that you didn't know and all of that. We're making sure through the Spirit that you have clear understanding of what this is before it's mandated when it comes to pass.
If I may protect you on that, what the IUIC was saying, they were saying it was sin.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But like you said, these guys jump around the topic of, as the scriptures speak about in Revelations 13 and 17.
Right.
Buying and selling. That is a major aspect. The ability to enter into the financial market and receive luxury goods and services.
Right.
That is a pivotal tool that Esau is going to use to strip people of their access. Anybody, like I had made mention of a camp, watching the Elder Apostles video, if you don't take that MOTB, you're going to be homeless.
Yep.
You can't, you're not able to access the internet because you can't buy internet. You can't access your ability to get a car because you don't have the access to go buy gas or pay a car note or pay for car insurance or things of that nature. Everything in this society is transactional. So when Esau takes away your ability to buy and sell, you are literally being cut off from his system.
Yep. Man, how much more plain can we make it,
God, I got something for you right quick, Zaquan, if I may.
You got it.
This is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 16, reading in the NLT. It reads, make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Verse 17, the point, don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what Yahweh Shema Shai wants you to do.
Yep.
What is the will of the Lord? The will of the Lord is for this society to go down. But where do we fit into that picture? Right? As the scriptures say, put on as the elect. Make your calling of election sure. The only way out of this system is through Yahweh Shema Shai.
That's it.
So as we understand what the will of the Lord is to throw down this kingdom, the will of the Lord, the Lord is telling us to make preparation for the bridegroom, make ourselves ready, because as the elder had titled the lesson, we're closer than when we believe. We're closer to the end than we believe. Excuse me. So we should be in overdrive, getting prepared. Like this is like the final countdown.
That's it. 2026. 2026 is right around the corner, man. Hey, that could be the year.
Yep.
Based on how everything is going in the earth, how things are moving according to prophecy, right? Now, this last point I was going to add, and if we segue to the other point or save it, we'll make that decision. But I want to pull this up. Bear with me.
And the brother Quanawaf has sent that article right there.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So here's another point, right? This is from America's First Report. The header here, it says, Nigeria, the lab of the globalist elite cabal, tries to boost universal health through digital IDs. See? And they're gonna push that system on Jake out there in Nigeria. Right now, I want to just kind of hit the summary. I got it pulled up here. Had the screenshot because I couldn't share it on the Chrome app, so I have it pulled up here. But I want to read down the summary here on the left, right? Matter of fact, let me go to this other tab and just read from the top to the point. So here at the top in the summary, because I had it summarized the article, but it says here on the left, Nigeria's digital ID healthcare system partnership, the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, and the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, are partnering to integrate the National Identification Number, NIN, into the country's healthcare system. See? They're pushing that beast system over there in Nigeria. It says, goal, this initiative aims to achieve universal health coverage by 2030 by linking digital IDs to medical services. See? It says, supposed benefits. Proponents claim this will streamline access to care, reduce fraud, and increase transparency in patient and management. The bottom part here, the point, it says globalist influence, right? Globalist influence. The article alleges that this is part of a larger plan by international entities like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the United Nations to implement digital public infrastructure worldwide.
God damn. It's the worst couple on the planet.
That's it, man.
Yo, them niggas be on hell.
That's it. It says concerns. Critics fear this will lead to increased surveillance and state control, with the potential for personal freedoms to be compromised. See, you're not going to have no rights. Okay, you're not going to have any freedom or sovereignty, man. This is what we're trying to tell you. It says they also raise concerns about data security and the erosion. Let me get that last part. And the erosion of privacy, right? So you're not going to have any privacy. They're going to know everything about you. You know what you're doing, how much work output you putting out there. They're going to know everything, man. This is and we're approaching the last little bit of so-called freedom that the people have until this system is pushed, right? But again, it all roads lead to the MOTB,
right?
How can you not see it? Right? You got it, Doc.
I want to just land back on that point too. You know, as far as the implementation of this digital public infrastructure, what Esau is allowing to happen, as we often make mention of that Masonic creed, Ordo ab Chao, in order for Esau to establish his NWO, he has to ensue chaos into the earth.
That's right. Which
is what we're seeing happening on the economic front. We're seeing that happen within public relations. We're seeing that happen within the access to resources. Yeah. He's pretty much holding and hoarding everything unto himself, to where he has full reign and control to leverage his ability to pass things out and ration things out to the masses of the people. And I wanted to bring out this precept right fast. This is Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 7. It says, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender.
Yep.
So what Esau is doing, you know, with this system, this digital public infrastructure, he's making you a slave unto him, right? He's making you a servant, because now with him having that access over you, he's now going to utilize that infrastructure as the borrower, or pardon me, as the lender, and you'll be the borrower. You're going to be the one that's going to come, as the scriptures say, come into to your enemy for the one of all things. Oh, he wants that power to stay over you, Jakes, man.
That's it. I got to read that out.
Time.
Deuteronomy 28 and 48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness, right? And in the want of all things. And he should put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Now it's heavy because that yoke, that yoke now is going to be that chip. You know, man. That's going to be that spiritual yoke of iron, man. And you got to go to him in the one of all things, it said, man, in hunger, thirst, and nakedness. If you want to, as we saw in the article, right? If you want to participate in society, okay, you're going to have to partake in taking that chip, all right, the digital ID. You see that? So he can reign as God over you. One more real quick. Psalm. It just hit my mind. Psalm 140. Right? Psalm 140 in verse 8. It says, grant not, O Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, the desires of the wicked. Further not his wicked device, which is his new order, lest they exalt themselves. See that? So through that new order, through, you know, chipping the planet, if you will, that's going to be his way or his ability to exalt himself, man, as God over the people. You see? This is madness, man. You know?
Yo. And Jake don't understand, like, it when they hear the prophets bring out these points, they look at us like we crazy. This is the will of the Lord. The Lord has put the spirit on this devil to have this access to technology, to understand the intricacies of the spirit and how to sever your connection by way of putting this all inside of you. The Lord has made Esau privy to these very things, man. And he's preparing to implement these things, like the elder has highlighted, to erase your consciousness, to erase your connection to the Lord, man. Because once he, like when the elder read into this article, you're pretty much going to be severed from individuality. Essentially, you're going to be severed from being led by the Lord. Like the scriptures say, man's goings is of the Lord. How then could a man understand his way? Esau, like, nah, your goings is going to be of me.
Shit.
And that's a serious offense that both the one that will implement the technology will receive judgment for, and those that submit to. Can I get that for you right quick, Zaquan?
You got it.
Revelation chapter 14 and verse 9. It reads, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So those that submit to this digital enslavement, simply so that they can continue to enjoy the luxury goods and services of society, so that you can continue to live, you know, how society has allowed for you to.
Yep.
You're going to be putting yourself into a worst case scenario where you're going to eventually be in the second death.
Right.
Being in the lake of fire by way of thermonuclear destruction.
That's right.
You don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be in that position. The elder don't want to be in that position. Brothers and sisters don't want to be in that position.
Right. I want to read this too. Right. This is heavy too. I was just looking through as you was breaking it down. Right. So this says the 2030 reset, a quote, hive mind by design. It says, Braden pointed out to Klaus Schwab's WEF vision of merging biology with technology as a deliberate effort to erase how you say that word, Doc?
Individuality.
He highlighted Ray Kurzweil's prediction that by 2032 and 2033, neural implants will extend human cognition into the cloud, effectively creating a Borg-like hive mind. It's some movie shit, bro.
This shit is so real. This shit is so real. This nigga is crazy.
It's a madman, bro. That's why he got to be stopped. It says, once our neocortex is linked to AI, we lose sovereignty. Oh, that's heavy, right? Once you take that device and you link to the AI, you lose sovereignty. You lose your connection to the Lord.
Yep.
You've been disconnected. Right? Whole Psalm 62:4. It says Braden warned, they're selling it as freedom, but it's the opposite, a surrender of our innate power. See? Let's look up that word in if I'm pronouncing it. Innate power. Innate power. Let's look that up. That's heavy. All right, that definition of innate, inborn, natural, right? Originating in the mind. Okay. Right. So he's going to tap into your spirit. He's going to disconnect your spirit from the Most High. You know, you got it out.
Psalms chapter 62 and verse 4. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly, Selah.
Yeah, they only consult to cast him down from his excellency, to disconnect you from your power, right? Seeks to erase human consciousness. That's the end goal. Man, let me see if there's any more. This is a heavy article, man. Bear with me. It says the war on human potential. I'm sorry, I'll jump down. By reclaiming our divinity. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's it. We don't even need to read no more. All right, you brothers and sisters out there watching this live, you get it, man. You know, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to tap into that, man, on how we are closer to the end than we believe, and this proves that. All right, you got anything else you want to add in there?
Like you said, Zaquan, we're closer than when we believe. All of these things that we discussed in the lesson, it makes validity of that stance, and it should be exhorting for us to hunker down in the spirit, because these devils is preparing to unleash all unholy hell on the earth so that they have justification to allow this to happen.
That's right. That's it, man. Hey, well, look, pray that this live was edifying, news and prophecy. We are closer to the end than we believe. All right, this thing's at the doorstep. And the chip is one of the last main prophecies that got to come to pass when nuclear war takes off and the return of the Lord. And every day we're constantly watching these things come to pass. Sure. Right? So we pray this live was edifying. We'll close out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakat Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us his truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.
What up? Fire.